It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. That's me, and I'm here with my buddy Fletcher.
Here we go. Happy Monday, friend.
And Ryder.
In the words of Alice Cooper, I'm 18 and I like it.
Show number 18 today, boys.
Wow.
Show
Look at
number
that.
18. We are legal. Let's go get some tattoos. Let's buy some lotto tickets.
Wow.
Game on.
Holy smoke. We can't get a drink till Thursday, but that's okay. We won't forget.
I'm just impressed she's kept track.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I lost track a while ago.
I just thought you were going to go with a whole, no, I'm feeling 18, so therefore I am 18. And,
Oh, man.
yeah,
I
who
ain't
knows?
felt 18 in quite a while.
Yeah,
that's
same.
That's a fact right there. All right, well, it's a Monday morning. It is April the 28th. I trust everybody's in good spirits after the weekend. Paul, what's happening in the world?
Well, today is a first for the show. We're going to talk about the weather, because typically we leave that to your phone.
Yeah.
However, the National Weather Service says conditions today are ideal for severe weather across the state. Ramsey County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Director Judd Freed says, quote, I'm usually the guy who stands and says, don't get up on the ledge. We're going to be just fine. This is shaping up to be a little different, though. He also emphasized the importance of having an emergency plan and taking weather alerts seriously. Another quote, people have this tendency to overreact when they should relax and underreact when they should be nervous. I don't want anybody to be nervous, but I do want you to pay attention.
Okay.
So everywhere I looked, every single local site,
right.
The front page is
Yep.
the weather today. Everybody's on the same page that this could be ugly. So just be aware.
Turn around and go back home.
Look, yeah, right?
Maybe not.
Yeah, just look at the sky a lot. Hundreds.
I left and it felt stormy this morning.
the drive-in was
feel
weird.
it.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's out there.
Yeah, the drive-in was weird. Hundreds of thousands of mourners gathered in and around Vatican City to bid farewell to Pope Francis Saturday, almost a week after the 88-year-old pontiff passed away following a stroke and subsequent heart failure. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, Francis will be laid to rest in a tomb in Rome's Basilica of St. Mary Major. In the coming weeks, that secretive process known as conclave will begin.
Here we go, waiting for the smoke.
That's right. The very best of Mick Jagger, originally released on CD and digitally in 2007, will become available on vinyl for the first time this Friday. The 2-disc set includes songs off his 4 solo albums along with his duet with Mr. David Bowie, Dancing on the Street, and 3 that were never released on vinyl.
The best of Mick Jagger. That's quite a concept.
Right?
I mean, can anyone name a Mick Jagger song?
Dancing in the Street.
He didn't write it.
No,
It's a cover.
I'm
Fair.
struggling on that.
I mean, there's never been a greater gap between what someone did in their band and a solo career. Seriously, his solo records, it's like the world is like, no, stop it. Get there with Keith or stop.
You know what? Me being the resident Pearl Jam nerd, it's the same thing, though. Eddie Vedder's solo stuff, I have no interest in.
You don't like ukuleles?
I mean, that there's some decent stuff there, but overall, like, it's just, nobody cares even within that camp.
Wow.
Right? Nobody,
Man.
I mean, nobody cares.
Okay.
Get together. My point is, Mick, get together with the boys and make your music and just
All right.
leave it at that. That's my 2 cents. You know, it's funny. You talked about feeling 18. You can get away with a lot of unhealthy habits in your 20s. In your 30s, it's harder to stay in shape. And by your 40s, it seems like you can do everything right and still not see any results. Scientists tracked the health of hundreds of children born in 1959 until they were 61. Think of that commitment.
Okay.
They found that those who regularly smoked, boozed, and lounged around in their younger years ended up sicker and more depressed.
Uh-oh.
So basically, they've come to right?
Yeah.
They've come to the conclusion that the miracle age is 36. That's when everything starts to catch up with you. You may not see the results of it all catching up with you, but I mean, for me, it was I'm sure it started in the 36, and then in the 40s, it just was all got out of control.
36 was rough for me. That was when Marley was born. So I had a toddler and a baby, and I didn't sleep for about a year. So but probably because of what I'd been doing leading up to that point.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, there you go, though. I mean, 36 is the magic number. Everything you do, if you don't take care of yourself, it's going to catch up with you.
All right, fair enough. I'm way, way, way too late to turn around now. Let's talk about some sports. Boy, if you had told me on Friday one team's going to be looking real good and one team's going to be kicking themselves, I would have gotten it backwards. The Timberwolves, well done, gentlemen, a 3-1 lead over the Los Angeles Lakers yesterday. Jaden McDaniels hit a three-point play with about 40 seconds on the clock to take the lead and then stole the inbounds pass from LeBron James that followed. Let her rally. The Timberwolves, a 3-point win over the Lakers. A frantic finish. The Lakers had a chance to tie it.
3-point game. No timeouts for the Lakers. Reed guarding. Doncic looking. James, corner, Reeves, three-pointer. No good. Rebound McDaniels. It's over. The T-Wolves go up 3-1 in the series.
The team that won 17 of its last 21 regular season games is showing that they have a lot of oomph. They're not backing down.
There's gas in the tank.
Check this out. The fourth quarter of every game so far, the Wolves have outscored the Lakers 105-69.
Ooh.
That is what you want to have a 36-point differential in the fourth quarter of playoff games. That's fantastic.
I've made it clear that I don't watch a ton of basketball anymore, but watching the Lakers come up the court at that very end, the way the Wolves covered, I mean, they gave them nothing. That was, I texted you, that was gut check basketball there.
It was really exciting. Crowd was fantastic. You do not want to go to Game 7 in Los Angeles. So, Timberwolves, I know we're feeling good. Let's get 5 or 6.
Just
don't go to Game 7.
Yeah, don't mess with
the
it.
Minnesota Wild, right now, the Minnesota Wild have held a 2-1 series lead in their history 5 times, and they are 0 for 5 in Game 4s when leading a series 2-1. I thought for sure that Saturday was going to break that. It looked in OT. They had their chances, just could not convert when they needed to, and gave up a ugly goal. My gosh.
Absolutely. And, it's easier to be the guy sitting here this morning saying this than it is to be on the team and actually do this. But you've got a 2-1 lead in your home building in the third period in a game to take a stranglehold on the series. You have to figure out a way to get it done.
You got to figure it out. Yep.
Don't S the bed, as they say.
That was tough. That was a real tough loss. There was a I'm spacing now, but probably 2 minutes before Vegas actually won it, there was a wide open attempt that was flailed. It was I mean, I stood up like there it is, and there it is, there it isn't.
There it isn't. Yeah.
Tough one. So got to bounce back, fellas. Here's an odd one. The Twins are on a tear. They just swept the Angels over the weekend.
That was nice.
The Twins are 12-16, which when you look at where they were 2 weeks ago, is not bad.
No.
They seem like they're playing some decent baseball. Harrison Bader in center field started in a game yesterday. He had the play of the game in right center. Ball goes deep to left center, and he covered some ground.
More of the priority as Ward sees a fastball, and Harrison Bader will run it down. Wow! Harrison Bader, one of the best outfielders in baseball this season. Full-out diving catch. Standing ovation all over the ballpark, including his own dugout.
He
slid
was
like Superman.
Yeah, he was trucking, and the dive and the catch looked fantastic. 5-0 victory. Joe Ryan, 11 strikeouts.
Wow. In
7 shutout innings. Very well played, young lad. So that's great to see. All right, there's your sports over the weekend. Well, you saw Frost game yesterday. Bad news, didn't you?
It was ugly. I do music for the Frost. The game that they could have really given themselves a good shot at the playoffs, and they got shut out. Couldn't even manage to get a goal. Hey, one quick note on the music. I had a comment on Instagram because I was live for a second there. Mick Jagger's Sweet Thing from Kai. He said, "Don't break my heart." Sweet Thing.
Fair enough.
So there's one.
Bradford,
There's one.
Bradford, Minnesota, home of the Mick Jagger's biggest fan club. Maybe. I don't know. Bradford,
probably.
Glad to have you with us this morning. Last night on American Idol, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced. What?
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, American Idol.
There's no lines anymore. It's all, I mean, as far as...
In some ways, that's good.
Sure.
We should blur those lines. But
It's all, it was...
Still makes me giggle.
But, at this point, Ryan Seacrest is Johnny Rotten. I mean, what's the difference? Bad Company in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I'm happy just so Simon Kirk doesn't look like a crazy person. Because drummer Simon Kirk last week said, I talked to somebody, and they said we're going in. And then he said he was under the impression it was because of the fan vote, and he said a lot of things, and I thought, think someone's just leading
backpedaling.
him.
Yeah.
So just relief on that alone.
I'm excited for the Bad Company fans to finally shut up about that.
I
mean, they're real passionate, so I am very happy for them.
No kidding.
You were thinking some coach's son was texting him.
Jeez, man, no kidding. Chubby Checker in.
Wow.
Still the weirdest thing to me
ever.
Joe Cocker. By the way, Bad Company, absolutely, sure, put him in
yes,
there. Joe
sure.
Cocker, absolutely, put him in there. Cyndi Lauper, I guess, sure. Outcast, I full-on 100% agree that they should have been in there already.
Yeah.
Soundgarden, 1,000%. That's the one that I was like, come on, for crying out loud. It's their third nomination.
Yeah, third time.
That's
enough.
a badass band. And the White Stripes, excellent.
Cool.
Excellent to see them going in. I don't imagine they'll perform. Meg White does not do that anymore, but maybe, who knows? Maybe she'll surprise the world. But good for Jack White, who's a good dude. Warren Zevon in the Musical Influence Award, hell yes. Or as I posted on social media, hell, curse word, yes. I was so excited to see Warren go in finally. And a few others, Musical Excellence Awards. Nicky Hopkins, the great keyboardist who's played on so many amazing records. One of the great, if not the greatest, rock and roll piano player of all time. Long overdue. Good to see that.
Well, Carol Kay from the Wrecking Crew. Wow, that's cool too. That's in my wheelhouse.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I saw her once at a restaurant, and I watched her eat Chinese food, drink white wine, and smoke a cigarette all at the same time while reading a New York Times, and it was like 11 at night. And I was like, she's too cool. I'm not going to talk to her. I'm just going to let her enjoy her meal and her cigarette.
And all of it was very rhythmic and on the beat, too.
She's incredible. I said Friday, well, if I wake up Monday and have a ton of text messages, I'll know the Black Crows got in. I did not have a ton of text messages.
Okay.
And Fish got snubbed, too. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't, and I've said it, and I'm not trying to be in it. I am totally thrilled that we were even nominated. I couldn't believe that happened. When you look at the bands that got in, when you look at the artists that normally get in, there's just, in my estimation, there's either giant hit songs, like way more, or there is just an influence or an impact or someone they did, like the White Stripes. That's something that was very, very.
They did both.
They did something no one else had done in that manner, and then they influenced. There's all these things you can make the case. So I just think it was cool that we were even nominated.
Okay, so
one less thing I have to think about for the end of the year.
Is there anybody that got in that you like? We should have gotten in instead of them.
No.
You're good with it all.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I this has nothing to do with me being nominated. The Chubby Checker thing's ridiculous to me. He had one hit. I would say this if I don't understand that. Like, it's a ginormous song, yes, but why?
Sure.
Okay, why aren't the Surfing Bird guys in there? Why aren't
where's the Macarena guy?
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's a gimmick.
But at the same time, so what? Good for him. He's probably a good dude.
So Black Crow should be in that spot.
He's still playing shows at 80.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
I'm not losing sleep over any of it either way.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Chubby, you got about eight more. Just hang on till November, buddy. Get up there and show us how it's done.
Oh yeah,
that's right. I'll watch that.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. New competition, the first of its kind. And let me tell you something, man. This one had a killer finish, the kind of finish where you might want to actually have a cigarette. Friday night in Los Angeles, man. Was it all going on? USC defeated UCLA, a race for the ages, the first ever. Well, you know what? I'm going to play you a little bit of the audio because you got to hear this to really get the sense of how intense this was.
Ladies and gentlemen, is to determine a champion. One more time, UCLA on top, USC at the bottom. This is for all the marbles. Send the swimmers through the finish line. Oh my God. And this looks like a tighter race. They're neck and neck. Sometimes having more swimmers doesn't mean that they're faster. These are head-to-head. We might have a photo finish. This is going to do it. Tristan Milker explodes through the finish line.
Wow.
USC wins.
I can't hear it enough. I get goosebumps. I'm excited. I feel young and more awake and alive than I have in years.
It's better to be on the bottom. Apparently.
Boy. Ryder, you want to take a guess at what this might be?
Dr. Bill texted in, 651-989-ROCK. He said, mascot race, but I'm confused because it says swimmers in there.
Yeah. It kind of is a mascot race.
So they have is it minnows racing or maybe tadpoles? One of my thoughts was bears because of Bruins, but you ain't putting bears in a pool.
Yeah, that's very true. Mascots, yeah, I don't. If they're in those, but if I'm thinking of the mascot, the poor student who's working 2 jobs and wearing that big costume on the field, that's just going to get waterlogged and he's going to sink right to the bottom.
Yeah, that's tough. I have no clue what this is.
Well, we do have a text 65199 Rock. Sean texted in. This is the silliest thing I've ever heard. He suggested maybe it's sperm races, and you are correct, sir.
And it is the silliest thing he's ever heard.
That's
he's
right. The first ever sperm race. Go to spermracing.com if you think we're making this up. No, it's a real thing. They're trying to turn fertility into a competition. There are declining birth rates around the world, so what we need is our young collegiate men to involve themselves in sperm races to remind people to have more sex. I'm not really sure what the point is, but all I know is this thing was live streamed on YouTube. 2 guys in a ring, they're looking at microscopes to watch their sperm swim on a course, apparently. $330,000 was wagered on this event.
$330,000?
It changed hands.
That's going to be, wow. That's just a lot of drunk college kids betting, a nickel at a time. 10 cents here, 10 cents there.
I guess.
Yeah,
sperm racing.
The event looked to spark a conversation and raise awareness about male fertility. I didn't know we needed to raise awareness, but it's doing the job. Here we are in Minnesota talking about it.
I just think that it's good to know that there are still new sporting events being invented at all times.
Yes.
I just think
is there video of this? Have either of you had a chance to watch it? Like, when do the swimmers enter the gate? Like, how does that work?
Well, and are they like racehorses where they put them in a gate and they know it's time to go? Like, how does a sperm know? Like, okay, the gate is open. It's time for me to start swimming. Usually they get direction from it's their male counterpart.
Well, they have video, and it shows, you can see there's like a course, and you see these, but
there's a course?
It's like they're in a tube that leads the swimmers up and down. Organizers are insisting this is a fully legit thing. They said the footage that they showed, they're like, listen, there's 3D and then there's raw footage. The stuff they were showing, it kind of looks like CGI. And then their response was, no, we're going to put up a comparison between 3D and the raw footage so you can see. We did they accentuated it so you could see a little better, they say. This to me just sounds like
it sounds fishy.
This is the Fire Fest for sperm racing. They're just taking it. They're just.
It's all made up.
I think it's got to be. But there's a new page on the website, Sperm Racing Tryouts, and it says that you can buy a kit to test your swimmers and see where they would rank on the amateur leaderboard. So you can, I guess, I mean, to me, I'm just saying, okay, so first of all, you've got to produce your swimmers, and then you've got to put them into something that then has them swimming here and there and everywhere. I don't know. Just
this is the new demeasuring. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No. I mean, they've got to be. They've got to be launched. So there's got to be some sort of a launch device to start the race.
Well, we're talking college boys. Launching is trust me, it's launching.
I know, but they're not launching it live and on cue. They were there they were launched prematurely.
At 19, I could hit the ceiling. I mean, come on, who are we kidding? That's not a concern.
I understand what you're saying, but that was done prior to the event. Yeah. How do they know? How do they know when it's go time? That's what I want. That's what I'm curious about.
They just been sitting around in the test tube getting all riled up.
I guess so.
I mean, when the gate opens, they just know it's time to swim. And here's the real question: how long until there's NIL money to properly back these athletes?
Not long enough. I have a feeling this is just getting started. There's gonna be a tidal wave of sperm racing endorsement opportunities for young people, young Americans, getting those birth rates back up to where they need to be.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Good Monday morning. The weekend is behind us.
Yeah.
Man, it's clear skies ahead, except for the stormy skies that we're actually dealing with. I'm feeling Minnesota.
Minneapolis is the second happiest city in the United States and the 30th happiest city in the world. That's according to the 2025 Happy City Index. It all just sounds so happy, which was topped by the Danish capital of Copenhagen, with Zurich in Switzerland and Singapore coming in behind that. It's the highest rated U.S. city is who? Take a guess.
Oh, Walla Walla, Washington, of course.
No.
If I lived in Walla Walla, I'd be in a great mood, just walking around Walla Walla, Walla Walla, Walla. I mean, come on.
Ryder, you have a guess?
It's probably going to be like Charlottesville, North Carolina.
New York City.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Crazy.
Like, greatest city in the U.S.
The most
but
parochial people in the world are New Yorkers. They're just obsessed with being in New York. They don't think they need anything but New York.
Yeah. All right.
Truly.
Well, there you go. There you go. Americans are struggling to buy groceries. New data from LendingTree shows a growing number of people using loans to buy groceries. The survey of 2,000 consumers aged 18 to 79 found that half reported using credit to help cover the cost of food. 25% of those surveyed said they used buy now, pay later loans to buy groceries.
Oof.
Yeah, that's tough.
By
now, I'm sure you've heard about the insane story surrounding Weezer bassist Scott Schreiner and his wife, Jillian Lauren. Well, now the LAPD has released video footage of Lauren holding a gun and allegedly firing at officers. The video includes officers warning Jillian Lauren to drop her weapon and telling each other, quote, she racked it. Before several shots were fired, Lauren was shot in the shoulder and arrested. She was later released on $1 million bond.
That's such a bizarre story.
What happened that she was having an encounter with the police?
There was a guy on the run. They were looking for a dude. There was a police pursuit happening, and a guy, I think, jumped into their yard, or they thought they were searching her neighborhood. It has nothing to do with her. It's a guy involved in a totally different crime, but she just walked out of the house holding a gun. I think there's probably some sort of incident happening, an episode, if you will. All I know is LAPD were in her yard, and she came out packing heat. Not a good idea.
Right. Well, and I don't know. This is maybe an indicator that it's going to just go by the wayside, but as bizarre as the rest of the story, Weezer went ahead and played Coachella like a couple days later.
Wow.
Which, you know.
It's a bass player's wife. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Always up for a bass.
Yeah.
Always up for a bass player joke.
Bass players are people, too.
Always up for a bass player joke.
We should get that shirt. Bass players are people, too. Pee Wee Herman's iconic red bike from Pee Wee's Big Adventure will go up for auction this weekend. It's one of 14 used in the film. And, in fact, this particular bike was used in several memorable scenes, including the one where Pee Wee crashes into a curb, thrown onto a lawn, gets up, and delivers his iconic line, I meant to do that. It's expected to sell for, let's guess, Ryder.
$1,500.
Okay.
Oh, it's $100,000.
$100,000?
Expected to sell for $30,000 to $60,000.
Okay,
Oh,
it'll be closer to 100. If they
Yes,
if they're saying 30 to 60, it'll be up around 80.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree.
That is, as far as movie props go, that's about as iconic
good.
as it gets. At least from the 80s. If you just want to look at it by decade.
Yeah.
That movie was that bicycle and that entire thing, man. Good God Almighty! I saw that when Pee Wee's Big Adventure came to theaters shortly after it was released. It hit a theater, and where I went to school, it was a $1 theater. It was just the second run theater for $1, and I probably saw it in the theater 7 times because we just kept going back.
It was only $1.
Everybody, you pop a couple, you have a couple beers, or sit there, get the joint in the parking lot, whatever. But you just for $1 to go in and just look at the silliest movie of all time over and over, always with a different group of people, because everybody's like, "Is it really funny?" And every time I'd go like, "Let's go."
Yeah, it's only $1.
Yeah, that bicycle, that's gonna be a big one.
You want that bike, or do you want the ET bike?
Pee Wee's bike, because who knows who can you describe to me the ET bike?
It flies through the air with ET in the basket.
If I put a row of 5 bikes in front of you, could you pick out the one from ET?
Yes.
No,
wow.
you couldn't.
It's got an alien in it.
Different generations. ET didn't work for me. I mean, it was fine. I liked it, but I was just of an age where I was not going to allow myself to get too excited. I liked Poltergeist better that summer.
Okay.
And you know what I like better than both of them? Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Of course you did.
Because the first time I ever saw Vans shoes, those checkerboard shoes, I'd never seen those.
Yeah.
And Spicoli walked in, and I was like, oh my God, I need some of those shoes. Yeah, the actual Spicoli shoes that Sean Penn wore, I'd have those over the bicycle probably. I'd just mount them on the wall.
Right, let's get into that in a little bit.
Man, there's so many good ones. Let's talk about some sports over the weekend. The Timberwolves, oh my God, that last month and a half of the season was not an aberration. This team is playing some basketball, especially defensively. They are locking down when they need to lock down. A 3-point win yesterday in downtown Minneapolis to put the Lakers at the brink of elimination. The T-Wolves are up 3-1.
Wow.
And covering Luka Doncic and LeBron James at the end of the game leaves Austin Reeves, the poor guy holding the bag.
3-point game. No timeouts for the Lakers. Reed guarding. Doncic looking. James, corner, Reeves, three-pointer. No good. Rebound McDaniels. It's over. The T-Wolves go up 3-1 in the series.
Chris Finch, after the game, said a hallmark of this team, the second half of the season, there's been no panic. They are playing great basketball late. I mean, the Lakers, they kept pulling ahead in the second half. In fact, they opened the second half with a 14-0 run to kick off the third quarter. And the T-Wolves just, unlike what we saw last year against Dallas, they just did not waver. They stayed in the game. They just slowly, they weren't trying to make 6 points per possession. It was like, we're just going to get a bucket and a stop, and it's working really well. The team looks fantastic. I mean, game 2 aside, they have dominated every facet of this series. So very, very nicely done. The Minnesota Wild, sadly, could have also easily been up 3-1 over the Vegas Golden Knights. But on Saturday, they let it slip right through their gloved hands, did they not?
They absolutely did. They're up 2-1 in the third at home with a raucous crowd. I wasn't there for the entire game, but was there for a portion of it. And the place was on fire. It was electric. And they just, I can't say the effort wasn't there, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do to try to finish out a game like that. And they let the lead slip away. Vegas goes up 3-2. They get I'm going to just say it was an opportunistic bounce to tie the game.
Sure.
But then they had plenty of opportunities in overtime to just take this lead, stranglehold the series, and couldn't do it.
Game 5 coming up soon, the 2-2.
Hey.
Yes?
An 8:30 game. For Game 5. Not 12:45 in the middle of the night.
No, that's great. We can watch the first 6 minutes.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Twins, don't look now, just swept the Angels over the weekend. Joe Ryan, 11 strikeouts in 7 shutout innings, a 5-0 victory again for the sweep. The team is now 12-16. Harrison Bader. For the second time in a week, we have a fantastic play in the outfield. Bader running from right center, clearing over to left center, and making a diving catch that got everybody excited.
As Ward sees a fastball, and Harrison Bader will run it down. Whoa!
No.
Harrison Bader, one of the best outfielders in baseball this season. Full-out diving catch. Standing ovation all over the ballpark, including his own dugout.
Yeah. Outstanding work there,
Just
fellas.
wearing the dirt on his uniform like a badge of honor there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it for sports for right now. Want to give a quick shout out to Albertville. Where is Albert? Who knows anything about Albertville?
That's a great little town
Is
in our
it?
northwest suburbs.
Ever been there?
Yeah, this
Really?
morning. And
Most
I
days?
slept there last night.
Most days?
Yeah. It's not quite the end of the world, but you can see it from there.
Nice. All right. Glad to have not only Paul Fletcher but everybody else from Albertville
Gee, thanks.
listening in the morning. The Pee Wee's bicycle. Going back to this.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
okay.
going up for auction. Just think about it. I'm curious if you could have anything from a movie, any famous prop, not just bicycles, anything. What would you want to have in your house? What would you be like? Hey, you want to see something cool? Hey, you want to see a dead body? What would you take from an iconic
You
film?
already threw Spicoli's shoes out there.
I
That's
did.
pretty good.
That's a pretty good one. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. Let me know what you're paying big dollars for. The bicycle from Pee Wee's Big Adventure is going up for auction this week. And so we're curious, what sort of movie props might you like to have? What would you spend a little cash on? 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. An awful lot coming in already. Shelly kicked it off first. The motorcycle Prince rode in Purple Rain. There's a local angle.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And I would, except it would probably look like a tricycle under me. I imagine it was a smallish bike. For his royal badness was not a large man.
Have either of you seen this bike in person?
I have not.
I had to take stuff through the garage, and they had moved it or whatever. It's just a regular size
Is it?
motorcycle.
Okay.
It isn't a custom Prince motorcycle, but it'd be cool to ride around town for sure.
It would be.
There's actually one of them. This is a deep, dark secret of First Avenue. There's actually one of them out back behind First Ave.
Oh, okay.
So I have seen one, actually. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Bob, who calls himself Bob with one O. He wrote the Terminator arm. Okay, that'd be kind of cool.
Yes.
Another good one. I want the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am. Yeah, who doesn't? Let me tell you.
Dukes of Hazzard General Lee, the Trans Am, all those are sweet.
That Trans Am though, that would be if it comes with Sally Field from 1977. Count me in.
Wow.
Dial me up for sure on that one. Okay, here's a question. I mean, it's a good movie. I'm not. There's a lot of good movies. Whatever. I didn't get as excited about it as probably a lot of people, although I did enjoy it. Okay, Castaway. Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
The volleyball. Wilson.
Yeah.
Which he loses at sea.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying I would want that necessarily. That's not a prop I would pay for. But don't you think the Wilson Sports Company, didn't they miss an obvious... Why didn't they sell volleyballs with that face painted on there? With the bloody hand thing looking?
It's a very good question. That is a missed opportunity.
Come on, man. Maybe the mid-'90s it was still like
was
not
it too
cool.
Dark?
Maybe
it
could have been too dark, or maybe they're just maybe Hanks and what's his name, the director, like, no, we don't want to pander. It's too. This is art. That's blah blah blah.
Then why'd you name it Wilson? You could have named it George.
Could have
Bob
named it
with one O.
Yes.
Bob
with one O.
Bob with one O is pretty good. Some of these things are available. You do see like the Christmas Story, the leg lamp. You see those. Those are out there. But the actual one from the movie, that would be probably worth something.
How about the ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz? I mean, they've been stolen. That's
very famously.
Yeah, very famously. They've been hunted down and found again in 2018 thanks to the FBI.
I'm trying to think of when I first think of things like this, I go right back to like childhood. My first, what was my favorite movie as a kid? But it's like, well, who cares? I was 7. I was stupid. But so I'm thinking more along the way of what are some iconic things. You know what would be cool if you could actually say you had it? The briefcase from Pulp Fiction. The one Samuel Jackson, especially if it has that glow,
cool,
because no one ever knew what the hell was in that thing.
Right.
But the whole point is that would be it. That would be a good one. If somebody told me, "Hey, man, this is it," I'd be like, "That's pretty cool."
I'm not too picky. If I could have either the hoverboard or the sports almanac from Back to the Future, I'd be happy with either of those two.
Either one?
Would you want the hoverboard even if it doesn't actually hover?
Yeah, because I'm just going to I wouldn't trust that thing anyway. I'm just going to put it up on my wall, right?
To compound on that, I would take either Samuel L. Jackson's briefcase or the Gimp's mask, his S&M mask.
What about the ball gag?
Either one's fine.
What about the ball gag?
Well, it's a match set. It's the way I'm looking at it. I have seen another thing. I've seen my son had a buddy who had it looked very real. The McLovin's license from Superbad.
No way.
Oh
yeah, he had one that looked very, very much like it. That's pretty good.
My name's
I have a promo version of the top from Inception. So I don't think it was in the film though. Although I could tell people it was and see if I could get away with it.
Okay, didn't see Inception.
What?
Sorry, never saw it.
Christopher Nolan, the guy walks on water.
I know the man. I know his work. Didn't get around to that one.
All right, fair enough.
It's real easy to get the red balloon from it. Just go buy a red balloon and look at your friends and go, no, seriously, this is the one, man. This is the one.
What about a lightsaber? You want Luke's lightsaber?
Yeah, you know what? That's actually pretty. I mean, Star Wars. I like those movies, but I never got too stuck into it. But everybody when that first one came out, we just walked around going. I mean, that was the coolest thing in the world.
That would be mine if the lightsaber is working. But if I have to pick one that automatically works, I want that chainsaw from Evil Dead.
Groovy.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
Attaches to his arm.
But
Good to go.
With the lightsaber though, are you taking Luke's or are you taking Darth Vader's? Which would you rather have?
I'm definitely taking Luke's. Yes.
Okay, who had what color? I don't even know.
Blue was Luke, red was Darth Vader.
Oh, I'd go red. Are you kidding? Come on, man. That's badass right there.
I think it's strangely, I think the Darth Vader one is the underrated one. Everybody talks about Luke Skywalker's, but Darth Vader, dude, who's a more badass person in that entire series than Darth Vader? I want Darth Vader's.
He's what James Earl Jones should have looked like. 6'3", commanding, the weird helmet. Quick fun fact I learned, because I mentioned earlier in the show, man, Wilson messed up by not selling those volleyballs from the movie, and many people have texted in to go, hey, dumbass, they do. You can get one on their website for $20.
Of course they're making money.
I've just never seen one, so
neither have I.
therefore, of course, I assume nobody else has either. All right, fair enough. We were looking at a list of. I'm just sorry. I like getting corrected by the listeners.
I haven't seen one either, so
Okay.
you're not alone.
I've never seen one.
Don't assume, Steve. It makes an ass out of Ryder and Paul. Now, talking about things that, let's, how about some safety tips? EMTs offering things, people that work in the emergency rooms and people that come and get you in the ambulance. There's a whole list of things. They're like, hey, here's something you got to do. You should know. Very simple tips to keep us all a little bit safer. And some of these are kind of, they would seem obvious, like always wear a helmet. If you're on a bicycle or a scooter, obviously a motorcycle, even if you're just, anything that's beyond walking, probably best to wear a helmet.
Those freaking Segways.
Please on those.
E-scooters, good Lord.
Doesn't take much to do a real number on your own beam. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You fall down. But here's one, and I had this conversation with my wife recently. Don't put your legs up on the dashboard.
Oh,
Obviously,
does she do that?
In the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't stick them up there and leave them there, but I'll notice like on the on the passenger side, there's just always like scuff mark looking things. And I'm like, what is happening over here? And she'll just occasionally, just like she has enough room, she can like cross her legs.
Yeah.
And occasionally, but her shoe will just rub against it. And it always looks like, I'm like, what? Can we just keep the car clean? Why do your feet have to be on the dashboard? Right. She doesn't leave them there, but they do end up there at some point. But
so you're not concerned for her safety, just the cleanliness of her car?
No, of course not.
Cleanliness.
One of the guys wrote, he said, don't put your legs on the dashboard unless you want bilateral femur fractures. Ugh. Yeah, that's just tough.
That doesn't sound good. That sounds less than ideal.
That doesn't sound good at all. And then again, another one, very basic. Wear your seatbelt. Do you know anyone that's like a seatbelt freedom freak who refuses to wear them?
Yeah, my meat guy from South Dakota. When
Really?
he's in town, he's like, he doesn't put it on, and then the alarm starts to go off, and I'm like, Stropes, this thing's just going to keep dinging until you put that. And he'll like go as far as to push in the button. And he's like, it rubs on my neck weird, blah, blah, blah. But no.
Rubs weird on the neck.
I got the seatbelt lecture in elementary school, like probably first or second grade. There was a whole thing. And it stuck, man. And I immediately became seatbelt monitor for the Gorman family because I had much older siblings and parents, people who were just like optional seatbelt. And I was obsessed about, no, you absolutely have to wear your seatbelt. Only up front. I didn't mind in the backseat. But I was like, the people up front, because I look back and we used to take family trips, big station wagon. We'd be piled up. I would sleep on the floorboards of the back seat. I would lay across the floorboard, and my brothers would put their feet up on the back seat or in the very back of the station wagon.
My mom is having a panic attack right now just
Really?
listening to you recount this. Yes, we were very much you have to wear your seatbelt to the point where it feels weird for me to get into a car and not be wearing one.
Oh, I can't. I can't be in a car without a seatbelt on. It's just never. There's never been a time when I thought I'm just gonna tempt fate, or I'm gonna stick it in your face to the man. I'll stick it in the man's face, but not about seatbelts.
We had the big Buick Estate wagon, the massive station wagon.
Yeah, you did.
Had the seat in the back that faced the back. Mm-hmm. You don't see those anymore. I think probably for good reason.
I would imagine.
Can you imagine? I would say my brother and I would fight over getting to sit in that back seat. The jump seat, essentially.
We had two station wagons. At one time, my family had two giant late 60s station wagons. And one of them, the seat faced the back, and the other one, it was two seats that faced each other in the very back. Little benches.
That was a thing?
Yeah, man. Oh, heck yeah.
Hey, Ryder, you should tell your meat guy that the windshield and the pavement are going to rub a lot worse than the seatbelt.
Than the seatbelt?
Yeah,
that's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
So one firefighter said, I'm a firefighter, 16 years on the job. If your carbon monoxide detectors are going off, get everyone out of the house and stay out. Don't try to figure it out for yourself. Yeah, I don't mess with that. If I have a carbon monoxide detector, I would never for 1 second think, I'll handle this. Yeah, I'd be like, no, I would handle it all the way to a deep sleep forever. Yeah, that's a no-brainer for me.
I like the really general ones because they apply to everything, right? Call 911 as soon as you think there's an emergency. It's better to have us rolling out there and turn out to be nothing than have you waffling on whether or not to call. Like if you're using it in good faith, they're never going to get angry at you. And the other one that I thought was good too is if you don't know what to do, don't try to help. You're the best help you can do is get the hell out of the way.
Oh, well, there is that. Yeah, the idea of moving somebody who's been in an accident, like just to try to clear them from the wreckage or whatever.
No, don't.
I learned that in just playing sports. Like somebody goes down and they're hurt and you think like, I'll help him up. He's my teammate. And I specifically did that with a kid who had just run into a wall in basketball and he broke his wrist. And I tried to grab him and pull him up like
God.
you do.
Yeah.
And it was a good lesson. Like,
by that wrist?
Leave him be. Just let that guy go.
I'd love
right
to hear
there.
some EMTs or first responders chime in on this 651-989-ROCK, because there's got to be situations like if there's a fire or if there's some kind of danger thing like that where you should be figuring out the best way to do that and not just standing by.
We were discussing station wagons, and Chris just wrote in 2 words, Vista Cruiser. My family didn't have the Vista Cruiser station wagon when I was a kid, but when I was in college, my brother bought an old used Vista Cruiser station wagon. This thing was absolutely ginormous.
That is a tank.
And we would sit. He would be driving. I'd be in the passenger seat. And one day we noticed we were wearing the same shoes. We had the same high tops on, the exact same style of shoe.
Okay.
And so he put his left foot out his driver's window, like leaned. It was big enough where you could still sit there driving, and his left leg was up and his left foot was out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sat down in the passenger seat where you couldn't see me and put my right foot out the right window. So to anybody looking at the car, it looked like the driver had both feet out the windows.
Yes.
If I'm painting that picture
the
appropriately
most
enough.
uncomfortable splits ever.
Yeah, but we thought that was the funniest thing going. My God, did we think that was great.
You're not wrong.
There was not much happening in a small, sleepy college town back in the day, trust me. Talking about things you can do, safety tips here. And we had some EMTs that had weighed in. Here's one. This is pretty great. I work in medical records in a hospital. I've read thousands of ER reports. Here's a handful of tips. Ready?
Oh, boy.
Let's hear it.
Do not celebrate your 50th birthday by getting drunk and then lean over to pet a stranger's dog as you are exiting the bar.
Oh, man, there goes my 50th birthday plans.
You can only imagine the various things that went wrong there.
It's inevitably a big dog with big teeth, too. It's never a little tiny dog.
I would think so.
Yeah.
How about
the
this
big
one?
dogs are the ones worth petting.
That's always the case.
Take it easy on the small dogs, people. Come on.
Do not swallow 2 live snakes in an attempt to impress your date.
Done.
Have you ever known anybody that would swallow animals? Like, I'm asking.
Like a goldfish or whatever?
Yeah. Like, there's always one kid that'll be like, you'd find a little lizard or something, and he would just. Yeah,
that's quite a leap though from swallowing a goldfish to 2 snakes.
Well, there's the kid who's 10 trying to gross you out. Then there's the guy who's trying to impress a date. That's a whole different level.
Yeah, that's just no. You said don't do it. I'm not done.
Here's another one. Do not get drunk and then ride in the back of an open pickup truck.
Yeah, that's never a good idea.
I just think about the number of times I've been in the back of a pickup truck, which is many. It's been a long time, but back as a younger man, of course. Never thought twice about it. Never once did it occur to me, this could go horribly wrong pretty easily.
Mom grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
So I've done this many, many times.
Sure.
But it's dirt roads, middle of nowhere, not going that fast with Grandpa driving, that kind of a thing. So
yeah, sure.
I think that's different than what they're talking about, but maybe not.
It's just you never know, especially when you're on the farm. If you get you might land in a hay bale. At least you got that going for you.
Exactly.
Finally, there's this one. Do not put Gatorade bottles into your damn near killed them, I'll say.
Wow.
Into your rectum. The back end?
Wow.
Don't put Gatorade bottles in your rectum.
What if it's the blue Gatorade?
Tip.
Is that okay?
Safety tip. No. Nobody.
None of them?
Nobody at all. Not interested in seeing that happen.
Need to be like all natural orange juice, like something more pure.
That's exactly right. You want to get it's a much more direct way to get the vitamins into your bloodstream.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Organic.
It's a jupository, they call that. Juicepository, they call that.
I thought that was the quickest way to rehydrate, but apparently not.
You can find the Gorman in the Morning podcast anywhere you listen, anytime you want, sponsored by our good friends at Davani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced last night its 2025 class of inductees. Mm-hmm. First nomination for Bad Company, that's all it took. Boom, they're in.
Done.
Whole bunch of hit songs for Bad Company.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
For Paul Rodgers and Simon Kirk, especially because they're first band, Free, is one of my all-time favorites. That's great news. I've been ripping off Simon Kirk as a drummer for as long as I've been ripping off anybody. So I told him, I met him the first time. I've met him a couple times. First time I said, man, I should just cut you a check. I've been ripping you off. And he goes, well, I'll just hand it over to Ringo because I've been ripping him off. And, it's nice.
That's
kind of
how it works, though, right?
Yeah, of course. When your favorite drummers all like the same drummers, it's like, hey, we're all in this little weird gang. Nice. And by weird little gang, because, man, he and Ringo, tiny little guys.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
If you put the two of them together, would you get one, Steve?
Maybe.
Not quite.
Chubby Checker into the Hall of Fame. First nomination, and he's inducted. First nomination for a song that is over 60 years old.
I found it really interesting. I went onto the Twitters, and Chubby Checker was, of all things, trending, and people were shocked that he wasn't already in.
Well, it seems like that would have been something they took care of back in the, like the late 86, 87 when they first had a class. Before it was televised, it was just this thing you'd hear about back, no internet. You'd be like, they have a Hall of Fame for rock and roll. That's weird. You would have thought he would have slid in back then when they were putting in Little Richard and Chuck Berry and Elvis. I mean, the original, Jerry Lee Lewis, the original rock and roll pillars. But no, skipped over all these years.
And he's going...
Go ahead, Ryder.
He's going in as a performer, not some kind of heritage award.
No, he's just straight up in there with the performer, as is Joe Cocker, which is fantastic. Mad Dogs and Englishmen alone should get the guy in. One of the great rock and roll tours, one of the great rock and roll live albums of all time. Big fan of Joe Cocker. Cyndi Lauper, second nomination. She is going in. You can't really overstate how humongous she was in the 80s. I mean, if anybody doesn't... If you weren't paying attention, man, she owned MTV. Outkast, first nomination, they're in as well. They should be. I don't think there's much to say about that. They're just as iconic and as impactful and as influential as anybody in any genre. Soundgarden, thankfully, in on their third nomination. The White Stripes.
Real late to the party on that one, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't know how you held them out this long.
You were just talking about impactful and influential, etc. Soundgarden, way more impactful and influential than they've been given credit for. Finally getting that credit.
The White Stripes on their second nomination are in as well. Jack White has done so much beyond the White Stripes, but yeah, this is where it all started with him. To your point, innovative and certainly influential. Congrats to everybody. I like in the Musical Influence Award, Salt and Peppa. I'll take your word for it. Can't say I know who they are. I remember their songs, but Warren Zevon, hell yeah, that got me. I was very excited to see him going in under the Musical Influence category.
Didn't Chubby Checker? I was going to ask you this before. Didn't the Twist have like a renaissance in the 80s too?
It's every.
I feel like
it shows up every. Someone puts it in a movie every 10 years by law, apparently, and then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, man, that was so great."
Well, if there's a law, then he shouldn't get in.
Yeah, it's one of those. The Twist came out. Let's see. Originally, by the way, 1958, Hank Ballard and the Midnighters. Chubby's was a cover. He's not the original Twist guy.
I don't understand. I officially don't understand.
These things happen.
It's fine.
What are you going to do?
I don't understand.
Neal Justin from the Minnesota Star Tribune. He's a pop culture critic, and he writes a lot about how we Minnesotans spend our entertainment time. We are going to have a conversation with him. What are you watching? What should you be watching? What is out there available that you cannot live without? Neal Justin coming up.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Neal Justin is a writer for the Minnesota Star Trib. Pop culture critic. He's a dude. That's what Neal is.
Pop culture dude.
Pop culture dude. Good morning,
I like that.
sir.
Yeah.
He's
Let me raise it up the flagpole at the office.
I'm glad you could join us this morning.
You bet.
You watch a lot of TV. It's your job. So first things first, before we get to some recommendations, because we do want to ask you what we should be watching. How long do you last with a show before you give up? That's
a
big
great question.
Because I have started so many series.
Yeah.
And I look back and go, oh, wait, I started that. And I don't even remember what. It's not even a conscious decision sometimes to not keep going. But you have to do this for a living as well as just for entertainment for yourself. Mm-hmm. Are you aware, like 10 minutes in, like, I've seen this before. How harsh are you when you're seeing a new show, I guess is what I'm asking.
So it can be a little tricky. With sitcoms, I tend to be a little more flexible. There are sitcoms on the air that didn't have a very good first season. I mean, sometimes they take a while to get going. Some sitcoms pop right away.
Sure.
Everybody Loves Raymond. I knew was great.
Yeah.
From the get-go. But sometimes shows take a while. Parks and Recreation, if you go back and look at the first season, not that great.
Yeah.
They went back and retooled it. So that happens a lot. So with sitcoms, I tend to give it a little more time.
Sure.
With the drama, I don't cover TV full-time anymore.
Okay.
I'm sort of a generalist now. I do a column that takes a look at lots of different areas of entertainment.
Yeah.
So I'm not as forgiving. Now, I usually give a show maybe a couple episodes, and then I'm out.
Yeah, sure.
And but in the old days, you stuck with it, and rarely does a drama or a miniseries get dramatically better after the first 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, sitcom, especially like with a live audience, those types of shows, the old network standards. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so much of a sitcom is chemistry with the characters
100%. And
how they get along, and the writers need to figure out who those characters are.
Yep.
And so I'm a little bit more forgiving when it comes to that.
The golden age of TV, when was it in your mind? I see people talk about it was the early part of this century. We had Sopranos and then The Wire and then Mad Men, blah, blah, blah. And then I see people say, no, it's right now because of so many options. Is there a time period you look at and go, that's when that was Apex Television?
I'd say about 10 years ago.
Really?
I think when streaming first came out and Netflix and Amazon and HBO were all in this competition. They were spending incredible amounts of money.
Yeah.
And not really worrying about the bottom line.
Right.
And they gave creative people free reign. Going back to, House of Cards on Netflix, and suddenly everybody had to give everybody free reign. I think now that money's more of an issue now, there's more of a hesitancy and there's more notes and people looking over your shoulder. But you've been in the business, radio and music. When you're desperate and you're trying something new, you give people a lot of freedom. You see that with film in the 70s. What an amazing decade that was.
Yep.
Because they were just giving people the shop and the keys. And that's what happened in television. It's still good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of options right now that you can pick from and find good stuff. But I think about 10 years ago, you talked about The Soprano, The Shield, Boardwalk Empire, Breaking Bad, which is the best drama, I think, of the last 20 years. The list goes on, and I'm not sure some of those shows could be made today.
Neal Justin's with us on Gorman in the Morning from the Star Trib. Paul, get to it.
I thought the four major players are Max, Hulu, Disney, whatever, Netflix, Paramount.
Okay.
Could you maybe hit us with one recommendation from each of those platforms? Because not everybody has everything.
Yeah.
So how about Netflix? What's one thing people should check out that they maybe haven't or aren't aware of?
Yeah, the show of the year so far has been Adolescence, which has been out for a while now, but it really struck people. For those who don't know it, it follows the aftermath of a, I think, 13-year-old boy who commits a murder. And it first gained attraction because each episode was a long tracking shot.
Right.
Which, for people that are not familiar with that means it doesn't look like there's any cuts. The camera just follows you.
It's like watching a play.
Yeah.
It's just no edits.
But you're also sitting there watching, how did they do that?
Yeah.
How did they keep the camera with them? It's a technique kind of Alfred Hitchcock was the first to embrace. But it's tricky to pull off, so people watch it kind of as a magic trick.
Right.
They do that. Then they realized they were dealing with this dark story. And I've heard all kinds of conversations this summer about what creates evil in young people. Is it social media?
Yeah.
Is it bad parenting? Is it just that some people are born bad seeds?
Yeah.
So it struck a lot of people in different ways. But more recent shows, I think there's been some terrific shows on Netflix. I just binged North by North, I think it's called.
North by North, okay.
That's kind of, it's set in the Arctic, and it's a romantic, comedy series. Kind of reminded me of Northern Exposure and Bridgerton, of all things, because deals with a woman who's not taken seriously in a community where feminism is kind of frowned upon, and there's a lot of good-looking dudes, and we also get some diversity in there. So that's a good series on.
How about Zero Day?
I've not watched Zero Day yet.
Okay.
Have you?
I'm like a episode and a half in, and it's
got a great cast.
It feels like modern day 24, and there's so much going on and the episodes are long. They're over an hour. Yeah. And I find myself exhausted because of the way TV's made today. It's quick hits. You know what I mean? Sitting in there with so much chunkiness, there's so much going on. I'm like exhausted after 35 minutes.
Yeah, I think when that happens, you have to have really good writing. One of my favorite series the last couple of years is The Diplomat. I don't know if you were Kerry Russell, another political thriller.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on there, too. And I do feel lost sometimes. But the writing is so good that it keeps bringing me back.
That just a quick tangent. I'm going to ask you, and we'll come back to it. But greatest shows that never got their star, their acclaim. The Americans was one of those to me. Speaking of Kerry Russell,
yeah. Although it did win quite a few Emmys
towards the end.
Yeah,
it took a while, I think, to get on everybody's radar. But boy, what a finish! It's hard. That had the final episode of a 6-7 season series. It's always like, did they really kill it?
Yeah,
that one might be the best ending episode ever, as good as any. I thought. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, the ending is so important. You talked about Breaking Bad. I mean, that was another one that nailed it.
I was just going to say Breaking Bad was phenomenal the way they ended that. How about Max?
Max has a couple of series that I think I just finished The Pit. I'm a little bit behind on that show, but it's ER+. I mean, I went back recently and watched the first season of ER, and it's amazing how many similarities there are.
Really?
It's fine. I mean, they really give you the sense that you're in an emergency room. It covers a whole day, so it's 15 hours, 15 episodes. I got to be honest. I don't like spending that much time in the hospital.
Yeah, there is that.
So I'm not a big fan of medical series. St. Elsewhere to me was a bar, but it wasn't that much about the medicine. St. Elsewhere was more about the characters. This is about the medicine and opening up bodies and blood spewing and people getting over.
I'm out. I'm already out.
Yeah,
that's all it took. I'm out.
But for people that like that kind of stuff, it's very good. Coming up on Max, I think next week is a new season of Conan O'Brien's travel show.
Okay. Oh, cool.
I'm a huge Conan O'Brien show, and just showcases, again, what he does best, and that's intermingling, going off the top of his head. He's the quickest wit, I think, that we have right now.
I'd pay to just watch him walk. Just watch him walk around. He's funny just walking. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of,
he's got that kind of floppy spaghetti walk, but he's very quick, and he genuinely, I think, likes his fans. Which I can't believe. I mean, you would think he'd get tired of that, but he really loves entertaining. I've interviewed him a few times. He tries to be entertaining, just one-on-one, even with lowly press members. So that's not always the case with folks like that.
Some of his fans have to be insufferable too.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Especially when he was on late night TV. I mean, I'm a late night TV junkie, and we're nuts.
Yeah,
I mean, we're nuts.
I was just going to say that.
You started the conversation by saying when you're trying something new, you give people free reign. The first couple years of that show, Conan O'Brien, I mean, he was known as a writer in TV circles, but to the average guy sitting on his couch at night, it was like, who the hell is this? And that show was all over the place.
Yeah, and he had the burden of following the greatest, David Letterman. I mean, Late Night with David Letterman, for my generation, I grew up on that show.
I'm right there with you.
Was the most influential show of my lifetime. So those are big shoes to fill. And I actually liked the show a lot. And I liked it enough that I went out to New York and did a big piece on Andy Richter because he was just getting slammed, and I thought he was hilarious. They swung for the fences on this show, and that was the fun of it. Something could flop, and something could really hit. And my big problem right now with late night television is you don't see that much. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel, but I can predict exactly how each show is going to go now.
Yeah.
Not true the first couple of years.
Not at all. No, absolutely not.
How about Hulu?
The first thing that comes to mind on Hulu is a series called Dying for Sex.
Oh, I just read about that.
With Michelle Williams. I'm about halfway through that. It's very quick. It's 8 episodes, half hour. And it deals with a young woman who gets cancer again, and this time it's incurable. and she decides to spend her last years exploring her sexual side. She's not really done that in life. She married young. And so it's a series of sexual escapades, which sounds kind of gratuitous.
Right.
And it is, but it's Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
And she's not going to do something that's, just softcore porn.
Yeah, of course.
She's very, very good in it. Jenny Slate is in it, who is great. So that's very adult.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting so far.
When I read the first thing I read about it, I was like, I'm just surprised that this is so. Again, I haven't seen it, but just the description, like you said, it's like if it was anybody but Michelle Williams, it'd be really easy to just look down your nose at it. But her reputation is obviously well earned, and there's got to be a lot of heart, but also very, very intelligent approach to this.
Yeah, and they've got some great writers. Liz Merriweather, who's done some great television and film, is one of the creators, and it's respectfully done. I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to it. This is a Netflix show, but it reminded me of a strong comeback performance, is Kate Hudson in Running Point. And
I've heard that's good.
It is good. It's better than I expected. Kate hasn't done anything really good in a while. And
she's selling that athletic wear, man. She's got 9 different companies she's running.
Yeah, she's a personable person. When I see her at interviews, I always check in, but she hadn't done anything that I'm, been really crazy about. Maybe going all the way back to the Almost Famous movie. But she's really good in this. She's a really good physical comic.
Yeah.
And you don't see that many people that master that anymore, running into walls, tripping, that kind of goofiness. Wow. She's really good at it, like her mom was, Goldie Hawn. And so I really liked it. For those who don't know, she takes over a team that's clearly the LA Lakers.
She's basically Jeannie Buss.
She is.
Right?
And Jeannie Buss, it was her idea to do the show. And she's one of the executive producers.
Yeah.
But it doesn't shy away from what it's like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's a fun series. It's not going to be up for Emmys or anything, but I enjoyed it.
Cool. I dig that.
All right, so let's do this. Greatest show, in your opinion, that no one's ever heard of? Like, what's a show you will always go, man, you got to see this? Is there any that jump to mind?
A few. I mean, people love The Office, right?
Sure.
But not that many people have seen the original version of The Office.
Oh, you just made some friends today, man.
I don't watch I will never watch the American one because I saw the British one first, and I'm like, why?
It's one of the greatest comedies of all time, and I encourage people to check it out. It's much darker than the American version.
I'm sure.
The lead character, played by Ricky Gervais, is really hard to like.
It it ages perfectly. I watched an episode of it in the last couple months, and I just stared. It's like I don't even laugh until it's over because I can't believe what I'm watching, and that's 25 years almost now.
Yeah, British humor does that sort of squirmish, I can't look. Incredible. Oh no.
Yeah.
Better than Americans do. If you look back at the American version of The Office, they tried to replicate that, and they realized that American audiences couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
So I've turned a lot of people onto the British version. They hated it.
Yeah.
Because they just don't. They're not comfortable with that kind of Faulty Towers kind of humor. So that's one that's always on my list. And then the other one, and I know people of your generation are familiar with it. And maybe a little bit younger because they showed reruns on MTV, but My So-Called Life
I forgot about that.
Just a tremendous series. I don't think there's ever been a better series about the challenges of being a teenager.
Claire Danes, right?
Claire Danes.
Yeah. And the introduction to Jared Leto.
That's right, as the hunky guy.
That's right.
And it's a terrific series. I watched it when I was young and really related to the teenagers. I've rewatched it now and sort of relate to the parents.
My son and I, he's 25. During the lockdown, he started The Sopranos, which he'd never seen, of course. I saw it in real time, but not since. And the difference between watching that show in my mid-30s and my mid-50s, I was like, wait a minute, I'm relating to Tony Soprano now? Just as a dad, some of the things, whatever that show looked like to me in 2000 and 2001 when it first hit, or 99, I mean, 4 years ago, it was like a whole different show. I used to be bored with all the Dr. Melfi scenes, and I couldn't get enough of them now. Just the depths of how deep it went into all that stuff. It all hit me so. I loved it back then, and I really loved it the second time just a few years ago.
I'll name another series that I hope people go back and watch, probably through Max, because it was on HBO, is Rome.
Never saw it.
It was only on for a couple of seasons, and it was just too expensive because they recreated old Rome. But for history buffs, it's fairly accurate to the time period of Caesar and all that. Awesome. But it's so witty and so well done, so sophisticated, and not enough people saw it. Fantastic television.
Right. When he said Max and go back, and I was like, he's going to say Silicon Valley, and then he didn't.
Yeah, I think that show ran a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Last question. What show should have gotten another season that didn't?
Well, all the series, not The Office, the British version of The Office, but two seasons.
Perfect. And the Christmas special, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. My So-Called Life would have come back. Right. Claire Danes went because she went off and made movies with Leo DiCaprio, and God bless her.
Yeah. Things happen.
Rome is a big one. They canceled that. That show could have run 15 years. The Roman Empire.
Right. Okay. Sure.
That show could still be on the air.
Deadwood's another one. They just pulled the plug on that one out of the blue.
It's unfortunate that they did it without giving them a chance to end it on their own terms. They did come back and do that movie. Right. I thought Deadwood was fine the way it was. I was not a huge fan of it, but I get it. Nothing. What do you guys think?
Growing pains. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
They could have run Who's the Boss for 30 years. That would have been just.
Well, my show that no one's ever heard, my favorite show no one's ever heard of, and the show that should have had another season is the same. It's Patriot on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I absolutely love you. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. Who was in that?
It's the main guy is John Dorman, but it's got Kurtwood Smith and the dude from Lost, the bald guy from Lost. It's the side characters. It's an intelligence officer. Yeah, Terry O'Quinn.
I think that was one of those series I watched the first episode, 2 episodes, and bailed. But I should give another chance.
Oh, man. Dig in better and better. I tell people it's like hot yoga. You got to go at least 3 times before you get through the 3rd episode before you bail on it again.
Okay.
We've heard so much about this show since April 3rd, since we started Gorman in the Morning. I feel like I've seen the show, and even though I haven't seen a minute of it.
And this is on Prime Video?
Okay. Amazon.
Yeah.
Neal Justin, Star Tribune. We want to keep this conversation going. So when new things break, when you see shows that you think are fantastic, you got to come back in and keep us up to date on what we should be watching.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you with us, brother.
Gorman in the Morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the Morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the Morning with Fletcher and Ryder on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Good Monday morning. Woo. Our week is up and rolling along. We are in 5th gear already.
Yeah, buddy.
And I'm feeling Minnesota.
National Weather Service today looks like it could be potential for a very dangerous day. Stay sky aware, as they say. Minneapolis, though, 2nd happiest city in the United States. Care to guess what's number 1?
The happiest city in the United States
Honolulu
is
That's
Hartford, Connecticut.
New York City. I just don't think of New York City as happiest. Best city, maybe coolest.
Nobody loves New York City more than New York Cityans. New Yorkers. I've said this it's the most parochial place in the country. People from New York only know about New York. They don't understand anything else. They've all been raised. You're in the greatest city ever. Don't go anywhere. I'm serious. It's every little neighborhood is a small town in New York City.
Oh, you mean they don't? Go ahead.
And then people who move to New York, if you ever see an actor in a TV, they'll tell you, I've been here 20 years, but I still don't feel like I can call myself a New Yorker.
Of course.
That must be how they keep the riffraff out.
So you don't walk into a Target in New York and see T-shirts for Minnesota?
I tell you what. Hey, here's one fun fact about New York City. Works every time. If you want to talk to a stranger, get on the subway and stare at the map, because someone will absolutely stand up and walk across that train and go, "What are you looking for? How can I help?" That's a universal truth about New York City. They love to help you on the subway.
I love that, though. That's cool.
It is cool.
All right, so we're the 2nd happiest in the United States, 3rd happiest in the world. This is according to the 2025 Happy City Index. Copenhagen was number 1 in the world, in case you were wondering.
Wow.
Americans are struggling to buy groceries. New data from LendingTree tree shows a growing number of people using loans to buy groceries. Hey, capitalists, calm down. A survey of 2,000 consumers aged 18 to 79 found that half reported using credit to help cover the cost of food.
Oof.
It's insane.
That's nuts.
25% of those surveys said they're using buy now, pay later loans.
Okay.
By now, I'm sure you've heard about the insane story that has surrounded Weezer bassist Scott Schreiner and his wife Jillian Lauren. Well, there's some new stuff that popped out this morning. The LAPD has released video footage of Lauren holding a gun and allegedly firing at officers. The video includes officers warning her to drop her weapon and telling each other she racked it before several shots are fired. She was shot in the shoulder and arrested, released on $1 million bond.
Every
Weird.
possible explanation for that is a weird one at best.
Yeah, there has to be more to this, or maybe there is nothing.
Gotta be.
Maybe there's nothing to it. I mean,
if the LAPD's in my yard conducting a search, the one thing I'm not going to do is walk out holding a gun.
Right? Yeah,
that's me.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's,
by the way,
maybe her state of mind is the question.
And they were chasing a guy on foot, and he jumped over a fence and went into a yard, and so she looks out and sees a bunch of police on her property and had no idea, I don't think, what they were doing there. The whole story is really weird. I think there was just some sort of, she was having an episode and suddenly went, oh, the police are here. I'm just totally speculating, but it doesn't make sense to walk out and then be told drop it and then not drop it. I mean, that's a tough time.
It makes no sense to see cops in your yard walk out with a gun and then not drop it when they tell you to drop it. There's, like you said, there's a mental health issue of some sort or drugs or something in play here. There has to be. Pee Wee Herman's iconic red bike from Pee Wee's Big Adventure will go up for auction this weekend. It's one of 14 used in the film. This particular bike was used in several memorable scenes, including one in which Pee Wee crashes into a curb and is thrown onto the lawn and utters his signature line, "I meant to do that." It's expected to sell for $30,000 to $60,000.
Wow.
75. That's my prediction.
75?
Someone will go up to 75K for that bad boy.
I'm going to go into show notes. Steve predicts 75K.
Easy. Somebody's going to do that.
Do you still win if you're close without, but you go over? So if it's 74, do you still win?
This ain't the Price is Right, Jack.
Okay. I'm not Jack.
Closest to the number. That's it.
Okay.
The Timberwolves are looking good. They're up 3-1 on the Los Angeles Lakers. The game yesterday afternoon, that's what they call a hell of a game. It was an absolute banger from the tip.
Wow. Are you talking about sperm racing?
Ageless LeBron James somehow still doing what he does. I mean, I'm not a card-carrying LeBron fan, but I certainly respect the man. Watching him at that age do what he did, but it still was not enough. Anthony Edwards, who's about almost half. He's about half it. LeBron's 40, Ant's 23. It's incredible. 43 points. Including drawing a foul on LeBron with 10 seconds left. He hit both free throws like you're supposed to do when you're a superstar. Julius Randle has found his game in the last two nights. He's been dominant, 25 points last night. It was absolutely fantastic. This team was down 12 late in the third quarter and won the game by 3. This team is rolling the Lakers in the fourth quarter of the series so far, 105 points to 69 points going Minnesota's way. That says an awful lot about them staying calm and staying very focused in crunch time. I'm feeling very, very good about this series, assuming we get it done in 5 or 6. Don't let it go to Game 7 in L.A., please, Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wild are tied with 2 games apiece with the Vegas Golden Knights. The Wild, for the 5th time in their history, had a 2-1 series lead and dropped Game 4. They are 0 for 5 in Game 4s when leading 2-1. That is something they've got to get to work on.
They say that culture, like, oh, these players aren't the same players. They don't remember well, how does this stuff continue to happen then? It's just that killer instinct is just, oh, man, got to find it somehow, some way.
Yep, it was a tough loss, a game that it's easy to say the Wild should have carried. After 2 convincing wins in a row, it was definitely a deflating, especially an overtime loss. It's just, it just sucks the air right out of the state in 2 seconds. It was rough.
Yeah.
100%.
The Twins are on a roll. They just swept the Angels. Joe Ryan yesterday, 11 strikeouts.
Attaboy.
Attaboy for sure. Joe Ryan looking good. The team is now 12-16, which take a look at where they were 3 weeks ago. It's pretty darn good turnaround.
12-16, is that good enough for second place in their division?
I don't believe it's quite second, but it's going to be there before you know it. Egan, we're thinking of you. Egan, Minnesota, glad to have you with us this morning.
Stay safe, Egan.
You mentioned, stay safe, everybody. You mentioned the Pee Wee Herman red bicycle going up for auction. What movie prop would you pay for? Or not even that. If you could have one thing from one movie, what do you want in your house? And don't say the ruby slippers, because we've already talked about that. And that's, you're just a retired gangster, stole them. We all know the story. Other than that, what do you want? Do you want Indiana Jones's bullwhip or the fedora? What's on your mind? 651-989-ROCK. Let us know on the talk and text line what movie prop you wish you had in your house. Pee Wee Herman's bicycle, the red bicycle from Pee Wee's Big Adventures, going up for auction. They're predicting $30,000 to $60,000.
Wow.
Will bring that bike home with somebody. What prop from a movie would you like to have? 651-989-ROCK. The texts come flying in. I like this one from Carrie. The Catwoman outfit worn by Julie Newmar in the original Batman.
Wow.
Okay. I mean,
not if you have to put it on though. That seems restricting.
That was my first question. Wow, you can fit into that thing?
You need a whole wardrobe department to help you get into that thing.
And then I think a little more recently there was the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman outfit. Would probably be pretty cool too, as long as you don't have to wear it anywhere.
Let's see. Oh, Jimmy, man after my own heart, says he'd want the EM50 Urban Assault Vehicle from Stripes, of course.
Yes.
Damn straight. Come on, it's Czechoslovakia. It's like going to Wisconsin. I got my ass kicked in Wisconsin once. Still such a great line.
A hockey buddy of mine, I just call him Corby. He said Herb Brooks suit from Miracle. Nah, it's a hockey nerd take, but I like it. I like it a lot.
What about Johnny? Said Gene Hackman's pork pie hat from The French Connection. That's a solid look.
Okay.
You got to not care about much to pull that look off.
Hey, earlier I said Back to the Future. Can I change mine?
Sure.
You're allowed to do whatever you like.
Yeah.
I want the hammer. I want Thanos' hammer from Avengers.
And change Back to the Future. Those are way cool.
Yeah, really. Come on, man. That's just like people talk about Marvel movies. I turn into Homer Simpson in court. Meow, 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 meow. That's all my brain does. I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, I'll go back to Back to the Future, but the hammer, Thanos' hammer.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Movie prop. Clint Eastwood's poncho from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Hell yeah.
That's a good call.
And earlier someone said the 44 Magnum from Dirty Harry. Another solid one.
Oh, man, that's a great call.
Yeah, do your curls. The thing weighs like 13 pounds. Just say it. That's not.
That's true.
You got to know your gun game to walk around with that bad boy. It's a hand howitzer. These are great. 651-989-ROCK. Okay, last one I'm going to share. The house on Lake Tahoe from Godfather 2. I guess that's a prop.
Yeah.
that would work.
Can you take that with you though? I don't know. That's.
My family and I, we were at Lake Tahoe probably 10 years ago. And got out on a boat, and the guy cruised by, and he said, "There's the Godfather house." And I was like, "No way!" And I was so excited. And we got kind of close, and then we noticed that there was like 9 other boats doing the same thing. And I just thought, I feel bad for the people that live there. You knew what you were getting into, but I just felt like a jerk now. I'm just offshore staring at the house, wondering, like, that's where the hit was. Fredo said he didn't know it was a hit, but you knew he had to know. I mean, come on.
Here's the question. If you buy the house, do you turn it into a museum and house it up properly, or do you live in it?
Oh, I live in it. I live in it, and I look at people, and I say, "You're my brother, and I love you, but don't ever choose sides against the family again." I just start quoting. I'm just Michael Corleone 247 if I'm living there. Right. That's just me.
You don't want to share it with others, huh? Okay.
No. Starbucks in Arizona. A woman rolled up to the drive-thru window the other day, and video was flying. She was going to order. They have a thing called a pup cup. It's something you can order for your dog.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that for Chauncey?
No.
Or Fletcher, do you ever do that for your dog?
Charlie.
Charlie.
I know that she barely counts as a dog, but no, I've never done that.
Chauncey eats pre-approved foodstuffs.
Oh, special diets.
Well, you just don't want to take chances. So, he has the same food. I give him 2 meals a day, and every time I go, it's going to taste just like the last meal. And he doesn't seem to mind. And then there's one type of treat we give him. Generally speaking, the answer is no. Nothing new, no invasive species.
All right.
Okay? So when someone says, "Can I give your dog a treat?" I usually look like the jerk, and I go, "No, thanks, please no." But Starbucks has a thing called a pup cup, and a woman walked up to the drove up to the drive-through window and pulls up, and she asks for a pup cup, but she actually says she's looking for a cluck cup. And the reason why is pretty apparent when you hear this exchange.
Okay. Do you have a cluck cup? Pup cup? Absolutely. Okay. I hear your pup asking for it. He's actually a rooster. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing him. What the heck? What's his name? Fluffy. Fluffy. That's so cute.
That's all I see, guys. Oh my God, nice chicken.
Can I take a picture? Yeah. Made my day. Hello. Oh my God.
Man,
What
I don't want to be
hell?
that chicken in that situation.
When I picture, if I think about a rooster being in a car with me, I immediately think it's going to pluck my eye out. That beak is going right in my eye.
I think of the idiot chicken that was in the Moana movie because I've got kids with young, and that chicken's a moron.
Okay.
Hey, I don't want that. I don't want hey in the car with me.
How does a rooster know not to crap all over your car? I'm not up on my foul.
Can they be trained like any other animal?
I'm sure they can at some point.
Just weird though.
I thought that fighting thing was on instinct, though. I don't know can they be trained? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Listen to us. 3 radio people. We get paid to talk for a living, and we're all dumbfounded and speechless.
You're working real hard in life to have a rooster, and I'm going to take this rooster to Starbucks. But boy, how excited are the people at Starbucks to see that rooster?
Dude.
Yeah.
Man, you got to get out a little more. I guess maybe it's Arizona. It's already hot. No one's leaving the house. You got the AC cranked, and then you get a momentary lapse, and you get to check out a rooster, and you feel like it's like touching grass, sort of. You
run into an animal that's not trying to kill you in the desert, because most of them are.
They sure are. Did I mention this? My one of my close friends in Arizona, big rattlesnake in his garage the other day. Did I tell you about this? He sent me a video. Yeah, he and his wife pull in to the garage.
Oh, God.
He gets out of the car. He goes to the back seat to pull out groceries, and he said he heard what he thought was a rain stick. The first thought was, he's like, why is that? And his wife is like, don't move.
Nope.
And he, very sincerely, was 2 feet behind him.
Nope.
Coiled up. Angry ass big rattlesnake in the garage.
Nope.
And he just froze, and she was like, very slowly walk away. She guided him because she could see. She was looking over the hood of the car at this giant snake 2 feet from his foot, and he just very slowly backed away. And they called the person to come out and get the rattlesnake, a wrangler, as you would. In Scottsdale, Arizona, there's a few people out there that provide that service.
Correct.
Woman came out, older woman, been doing it for decades, and she gets that bad boy up, and he said to her, hey, have you ever been bit? Have you ever had a snake bite you? And she said, no, my son was bitten doing this work when he was 24, and it took 30 vials of antivenom to save his life. And my buddy just turned 70, and he said, well, I'm 70, and I've got a bad heart. She goes, oh, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You'd already be toast. I mean, it is that close.
I'm going to reassert what I was just saying in the background a bit ago. Nope.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I need a vial of anti-venom just hearing this story.
Well, when he called me and told me about it, I am a snake phobe from life. I was truly nauseous. Like, I thought I might throw up just hearing this story. And then he sent me the video of the giant ass snake coming out of his garage, and I was like,
opened it?
I did. And so they have a little dog door, like, and he said, oh, do you think? And she said, no, it wouldn't have gone in that. She said, lower your garage door. So we lowered it, and there was just on one side, he said there was this tiny little 1-inch gap, and she said that's all it needed. The snake probably wanted to get out of the sun or smelled something in there, and who knows what it was. But she said, yeah. And when she got there, the first thing she said is, boy, this guy's angry.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great place to have an angry rattlesnake in your garage.
And of course, they said,
couldn't be a happy one.
Well, you got to keep a swivel head. They got, there's Gila monsters and scorpions too. So, you're not out of the woods yet. Just life in Arizona.
Hey, so we like to do this thing where we take the family up north to what's called a tiny cabin. I mean, literally, it's bunk beds. It's maybe a college dorm room style kitchen.
Yep.
Okay, tiny. But they plop them down in like a neighborhood in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
You can't hear a thing. Okay. One night we're sitting out by the fire and we see this black shadow up in a tree. It was a porcupine. You have either of you ever know in your lifetime porcupines can climb trees?
I did not know that. I don't think I've ever seen a porcupine.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
We got close enough to be able to see the quills and went, oh, it's a porcupine. What the hell is that doing up there? Because we couldn't figure out what animal it was up there.
Yeah, I didn't know they were here in Minnesota.
The strangest thing that I've ever seen in my life. I'll show you a picture. It was a bizarre encounter for us.
That's a pretty wild one. Hey, tomorrow on Gorman in the Morning, we're going to play a little WTF, Wisconsin, Texas, Florida at 8:25. Are we going to play for something?
We are, and it's a to-be-determined prize.
I love the little TBD.
Those are my favorites.
Yes.
Right on. If you want to keep it tuned to Minnesota's 92 KQRS, I have good news. Paul Fletcher's going to hang around.
Yeah, I'm going to play newly inducted Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, White Stripes, and maybe the Prince of Badness. What's his name?
Ooh.
The Prince of Badness?
Yeah, what's the actual way to say it?
His Royal Badness?
The Royal Badness, yeah.
Prince Rogers Nelson was on the Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial Highway over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went out to the Arboretum.
In Chanhassen.
It was awesome.
My mom freaking loves the Arboretum, dude.
Well, man.
It's like a membership is her birthday present every year.
What was your favorite flower that you saw?
First time, all of them. We just went out there, and it was awesome. A nice little 3-mile walk, which is actually 2 1/4, but they call it the 3-miler.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice day.
I'm surprised that those had popped already. I have no greenage in my neighborhood.
They're just beginning stages. It's kind of like we were saying, like, okay, we should come here every quarter just to see how different it looks.
Yeah.
Gorgeous stuff out there. All right, that's gonna do it. Paul Fletcher, rock on. This is Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the Morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the Morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.